Great day to you all. And a happy new year. Let's begin this new year with an exciting journey of storytelling. I'm Zays. Let's dive into the mysterious and magical world of the Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Chapter 1, A Dark Beginning. Galaxy Stern, known as Alex, was far from the ideal Yale student. A high school dropout with a troubled past. She had a unique ability that set her apart. She could see greys, the spirits of the dead. This rare gift brought her to Yale's Leigh House, a secret organization tasked with monitoring the university's 8 powerful societies, each steeped in dangerous magic and ancient rituals. Under the mentorship of the polished and precise Darlington, Alex began learning about the society's dark histories. Her first assignment was to observe a ritual performed by Skull and Bones, known for their prophetic abilities. The ceremony was mesmerizing, filled with chants and glowing symbols. But Alex's attention was drawn to the greys lurking in the room, invisible to all but her. As the ritual peaked, one of the greys moved toward Alex, its hollow gaze locking onto her. Paralyzed with fear, she stumbled back, drawing Darlington's ire. "They can't hurt you unless you let them," he reminded her. But Alex wasn't convinced. The greys wanted something, and she could feel it. Thrust into a world of magic and danger, Alex knew her survival depended on learning quickly. Even as the secrets of Leigh House and Yale's societies began to unravel before her. Chapter 2, Challenges and Suspicion. Alex's days at Yale took a darker turn when a student's sudden death on campus was brushed off as a drug overdose. Yet, something felt off. The greys, usually silent observers, were agitated, their hollow eyes fixed on places others ignored. Alex, still grappling with her new role, couldn't shake the feeling that this death wasn't natural. It was connected to the societies. Darlington, meticulous and ever patient, walked Alex through Leigh's protocols, emphasizing observation over interference. They attended a ritual hosted by Manuscript, a society revered for its alchemical prowess. The ceremony was dazzling, with golden elixirs and intricate chants. But Alex could sense the danger beneath the surface. Greys hovered on the ritual's fringes, drawn to the burst of energy. Despite Darlington's guidance, Alex's rebellious streak grew. She couldn't help but probe deeper, even when Darlington warned her to tread carefully. As the investigation into the student's death stalled, Alex realized her gift made her uniquely capable of uncovering truths that others ignored. But it also painted a target on her back. Chapter 3, Shadows Beneath Yale. Beneath Yale's historic buildings lay a labyrinth of secrets. Alex and Darlington ventured into one such forgotten place, a hidden chamber rumored to have been a site for dark rituals. The air was cold, the walls carved with symbols that pulsed faintly under their flashlight beams at the center layer. Stone altar, stained with what appeared to be old blood. The greys here were different, angrier, more present. They moved closer to Alex, their hollow forms almost tangible. Darlington observed the scene with clinical precision, theorizing it was a failed summoning ritual. Alex, however, felt the room's oppressive energy as something alive, something watching. One grey reached out toward her, its hand dissolving as it neared. Alex froze, the weight of her ability crashing down on her. For the first time, she realized the societies weren't just experimenting. They were playing with forces far beyond their control. The discovery deepened her resolve, but it also left her shaken. If Leigh was to protect Yale, it needed more than rules and protocols. It needed someone willing to confront the darkness head-on. Chapter 4, Hidden Alliances. As Alex grew more attuned to Leigh's work, she began noticing cracks in the organization's foundation. A surveillance mission to observe a society meeting turned into a shocking revelation. Members of the societies were colluding to exploit Leighy's oversight. What was supposed to be a safeguard against abuse had become a puppet for the society's ambitions. The betrayal stung deeply, Alex confided in Darlington. But he brushed off her concerns, chalking it up to her inexperience. Frustrated but undeterred, Alex started her own investigation. Following a trail of subtle connections between Leighy members and the societies they were supposed to monitor, the more she uncovered, the more it seemed Leighy wasn't just compromised. It was a pawn in a much larger game. Meanwhile, the Greys grew more restless, their movements more erratic. Alex realized that whatever was brewing within the societies was stirring the dead as well. She couldn't shake the feeling that something catastrophic was on the horizon. And Leighy was ill-equipped to stop it. Chapter 5: A New Path. Determined to uncover the society's true motives, Alex dove into Yale's hidden corners. With fragments of old maps and whispers from the Greys, she navigated the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the campus. There, she discovered artifacts and symbols tied to ancient rituals. Each more ominous than the last. Among them was a sigil carved into the stone, its meaning tied to resurrection magic. The sigil wasn't just a relic. It was a clue to a far-reaching conspiracy. Alex, with the help of an unlikely ally, began decoding its significance. The societies, she learned, weren't merely hoarding power. They were manipulating life and death to extend their influence. The very fabric of reality was at stake. And Alex's role as a mere observer no longer felt sufficient. The Greys became her unlikely guides, leading her to truths hidden even from Leighy. She realized that if she wanted to stop the societies, she'd need to embrace her gift fully, even if it meant risking her life. Alex's mission was no longer just about survival. It was about justice, for the living and the dead. Chapter 6: The Ghosts Speak. Alex's abilities to see and interact with Greys became both a blessing and a curse. The more she used her gift, the more restless and agitated the Greys became. One evening, while exploring the tunnels beneath Yale, she encountered a particularly powerful Grey. Unlike others, this one did not shy away from her presence. Instead, it lingered, its hollow gaze filled with something resembling recognition. The Grey seemed tied to Yale's past. A former society member who had died during a botched ritual. In its spectral form, it attempted to communicate, gesturing toward symbols etched on the tunnel walls. Alex, hesitant yet curious, followed its guidance. The symbols led her to a hidden chamber where remnants of another failed ritual lay. A sigil, partially destroyed, and traces of blood long dried. This Grey revealed a horrifying truth. The societies weren't just experimenting with resurrection magic. They were actively seeking to bridge the gap between life and death. Using the Greys as pawns, Alex realized her gift wasn't just a tool. It was a tether to the society's darkest secrets. This knowledge strengthened her resolve but also deepened her fears. If the societies succeeded, the boundary between the living and the dead could collapse entirely. Chapter 7: The Grand Conspiracy. With the Greys' clues, Alex pieced together a chilling pattern. The societies had been orchestrating a large-scale ritual over decades, using Leighy House as an unwitting shield. Each ritual they performed, each spell, each sacrifice, was a step toward their ultimate goal: harnessing supernatural power to resurrect the most powerful spirits of their history. Leighy's role, Alex realized, was little more than a distraction. The societies had long outmaneuvered their watchers, masking their true intentions behind mundane rituals and folks' cooperation. Worse, Alex discovered that members within Leigh House itself had been complicit, feeding the society's information and turning a blind eye to their violations. Armed with this knowledge, Alex confronted Darlington. The truth shook him to his core, and for the first time, he showed cracks in his composed facade. Together, they devised a plan to stop the societies. But Alex couldn't shake the feeling that Leigh's compromised state meant they were already too late. Chapter 8: Death and Resurrection. The society's plans came to a head during a rare celestial event. Under the cover of night, they gathered in one of Yale's most ancient and sacred spaces, a towering Gothic hall illuminated by the faint glow of moonlight through stained glass windows. The air buzzed with energy as they began their most dangerous ritual yet. Alex, Darlington, and a small group of trusted allies infiltrated the ceremony. The sigil at the center of the hall pulsed with unnatural light, and the chanting of the society members reached a fever pitch. Greys, drawn to the energy, crowded the edges of the room, their translucent forms trembling with anticipation. As Alex moved closer, she realized the ritual's true purpose: to use the collective power of the Greys to bring back a long-dead founder of the societies. A figure of immense magical power. The sigil acted as a gateway, and it was already opening. Drawing on her abilities, Alex summoned the Greys to disrupt the ritual. Their collective anger created a chaotic storm of energy, scattering the society members. Amid the chaos, Alex destroyed the sigil with a stolen artifact, shattering the gateway and stopping the ritual. The backlash of energy was immense. Alex collapsed, her vision swimming with the faces of the Greys she had freed. When she awoke, the hall was silent. The society's leaders had fled, their plans in ruins, but the cost of the victory weighed heavily on her. Chapter 9: Truth and Betrayal. In the aftermath of the ritual, Alex began to piece together the larger picture. The societies were fractured, their leadership in disarray, but Leigh House wasn't in the clear. Evidence surfaced implicating senior Leigh members in aiding the society's plans. Alex felt the sting of betrayal deeply. Leigh House, the institution meant to protect Yale, had been rotting from within. Darlington, shaken by the events, stood by Alex's side as they confronted Leigh's leadership. Some members were removed, their alliances exposed. For Alex, the victory felt hollow. The societies might have been thwarted, but their influence remained, and Leigh's role in keeping them in check had been deeply compromised. Yet Alex knew she couldn't walk away. The Greys still lingered, and the society's thirst for power hadn't been quenched. Her work with Leigh House was far from over. But now, she approached it with open eyes and hardened resolve. Chapter 10: A New Beginning. As Yale returned to its routine, Alex found herself at a crossroads. She had confronted the darkness that lay beneath the university's surface, but it had left her scarred. The societies were quiet, for now, but Alex knew better than to believe they were defeated. Her gift, once a source of fear and confusion, had become her greatest weapon. She had learned to wield it, to listen to the Greys, and to use their lingering presence as a guide. Leigh House, though fractured, had a chance to rebuild under her watch. In the quiet moments between her duties, Alex reflected on her journey. Yale was still a place of power and privilege, but she had carved out a space for herself within its shadowy corridors. The societies had underestimated her, and that was their greatest mistake. For Alex Stern, the story was far from over. The ninth house still stood, and as long as it did, so would she. Chapter 11: The Final Reckoning. The quiet that settled over Yale after the shattered ritual was deceptive. Alex knew the societies wouldn't let their plans fall apart without retaliation. Leigh House was in disarray, with leadership fractures and trust eroded. Alex, however, felt a new resolve, a certainty that the battle wasn't truly over. One evening, Alex discovered an encoded letter hidden among Darlington's old files. It spoke of a nexus, a convergence point for the society's magic. Buried deep beneath Yale, the nexus wasn't just a power source. It was a place where the veil between the living and the dead was at its thinnest. If the societies could regain control of it, they might restart their attempts to bridge the two realms. Alex shared the discovery with Darlington, and together they formulated a desperate plan. They would find the nexus first and secure it, even if it meant facing the societies head-on. The stakes were clear. If the societies succeeded, they could unleash unimaginable chaos. A descent into darkness, guided by old maps and whispers from the Greys. Alex and Darlington ventured into the labyrinthine tunnels beneath Yale. The air grew colder as they descended, and the oppressive feeling of being watched followed their every step. The closer they came to the nexus, the more agitated the Greys became. Some reached out to Alex, their hollow forms trembling as though trying to warn her. At the nexus, they found remnants of ancient rituals, broken artifacts, crumbling sigils, and an eerie stillness that seemed alive. It was clear the societies had used this space for centuries, and their lingering magic still pulsed faintly in the walls. Alex felt a pull, a strange connection to the place, as if the nexus recognized her. Before they could fully explore, they were ambushed. Members of Scroll and Key and Skull and Bones, desperate to reclaim their lost power, surrounded them. Alex and Darlington had no choice but to fight, using their knowledge of magic and the artifacts they had collected to fend off the attackers. A final choice. In the chaos, Alex realized the nexus was activating. The societies had left a failsafe, a ritual that would draw on the Grey's energy to unleash its power. The room filled with ghostly forms, their silent screams echoing as the ritual began to take hold. Alex knew she had to make a choice. Sever the Nexus's connection to the Greys, or risk the veil between the living and the dead being torn apart. Drawing on everything she had learned, Alex used her unique connection to the Greys to communicate with them. She urged them to resist the pull of the Nexus, to reclaim their autonomy. The Greys responded, their collective energy overwhelming the ritual and shattering the sigils holding them captive. The backlash was immense. The Society's members were thrown back, their control over the Nexus broken. Alex collapsed to the ground, the energy draining her completely. In her final moments of consciousness, she felt a strange calm. The Greys were free, and the Nexus was dormant once more. The aftermath. When Alex awoke, she found herself back in Leigh House, Darlington by her side. The Societies were in shambles, their plans destroyed, and the Nexus sealed for the foreseeable future. But the cost had been high. Alex felt the weight of her actions, the strain of her abilities, and the knowledge that the Societies would never truly stop seeking power. Leigh House began to rebuild, its leadership purged of corruption. Alex, though battered and weary, found a sense of purpose in its renewal. She had become more than just a watcher. She was now a protector, someone who had proven that even in the darkest of places, light could prevail. A new chapter. As the term resumed, Alex walked through Yale's campus with a newfound sense of belonging. The Greys were still there, watching from the shadows, but their presence felt quieter, almost grateful. The Societies remained, their influence intact but diminished. Alex knew the battle wasn't over, but for now, she had won a hard-fought victory. The ninth house stood stronger than ever. And Alex Stern, against all odds, had carved her place within it. Her journey was far from over, but she was ready for whatever came next. I hope you enjoyed this summary. If you'd like to dive deeper into the ninth house, use the link below to purchase the book. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more captivating stories. Thank you for listening.